Chapter 1241, Jian Wushuang and the Jin Kingdom Monarch. No. The remaining Jin Kingdom Universe Masters on the entire battlefield were all caught in an unprecedented horror. Jian Wushuang's move was terrifying. He used only one move to kill all their Celestial Masters. Although for the Jin Kingdom, Universe Masters were their pillars. However, after the war, when they started to search for treasures on this battlefield, they would need a large number of Celestial Masters. But now, the Celestial Masters had all been wiped out. How could they stay calm? And what was more horrifying was Jian Wushuang's incredible skill. Contrary to the Jin Kingdom, the Green Fire World rejoiced over the massacre. 2,000 Celestial Masters had been killed in an instant. One must know that only less than 200 Green Fire World Celestial Masters remained. They had been using battle formations to make up for their strength gaps. But now, all Jin Kingdom Celestial Masters were dead. This alone pulled back the Green Fire World from the crisis of destruction. In this ultimate battle, they finally saw the stroke of dawn. Xianxia. Jian Nantian clasped his hands firmly and his eyes sparkled with unprecedented surprises. One must know that the one launched the overwhelming move was his son. Jian Wushuang. Tang Emperor, Emperor Xiao, Shui Lingtian, Yang Zixuan, and Su Ru all became excited again. They knew that Jian Wushuang would never let them down. Above the void, Jian Wushuang hovered, emotionlessly. He just slaughtered so many Jin Kingdom Celestial Masters but did not feel pity at all. As he said before, all Jin Kingdom experts must die. Jiu King inside his body secretly admired. It's a soul outclass. Under normal circumstances, only the founder of the Star Bloodline and King Luo Zhan can use the skill. He actually utilized it when he's only a Universe Master. What an inverse cultivator. He's ignited the fire of soul as a Dao Master. Incredible. If he keeps improving his soul power, in the future, when he reaches the level of the founder of the Star Bloodline and King Luo Zhan, how strong will his soul power be? Formidable. A formidable inverse cultivator. Jiu King knew very well how demanding Jian Wushuang's previous move was. However, being an inverse cultivator, Jian Wushuang ignited the soul power as a Dao Master and managed to exert that skill as a Universe Master. And this skill had directly wiped out all the Jin Kingdom Celestial Masters on the battlefield. In an instant, the situation completely changed. Of course, although the situation had been reversed, it did not mean the Green Fire World was already safe. After all, Jian Wushuang only killed the Jin Kingdom Celestial Masters. Their Universe Masters and the Supreme Monarch remained intact. Swoosh! Under the eyes of everyone, Jian Wushuang dashed and crossed over half of the battlefield. Then, he appeared in front of the Jin Kingdom Monarch. Jin Kingdom Monarch. Jian Wushuang sounded cold. Jian Wushuang. Likewise, the Jin Kingdom Monarch's eyes flashed with coldness. Just now, the Jin Kingdom Monarch saw Jian Wushuang and did not pay much attention, because he thought it would not change anything even if he had broken through. However, in a short period of time, Jian Wushuang proved him wrong. He alone was able to change the situation. Humph! The Jin Kingdom Monarch snorted. In his eyes, there was immense killing intent. And at the next moment, he moved. A harsh wind-breaking sound rang. The Jin Kingdom Monarch showed up in front of Jian Wushuang. The black spear held by him took on a dark glow and overwhelming strong power. It rushed toward Jian Wushuang's chest. Splash! It pierced through the void. A hole that covered a range of thousands of miles formed. At the core of this big hole, a streak of bright black light rose up. Seeing this, Jian Wushuang squinted and did not draw a sword or perform any swordsmanship to resist. Just when the black flowing light was less than 1 meter away from him, he finally lifted his hand. He caught the flowing light with his mighty right hand. Boom! The power that could easily wipe out a Universe Master burst out. But Jian Wushuang still clenched the streak of light in his palm. He did not release his hands until the power in the flowing light completely dissipated. What? Even the Jin Kingdom Monarch was shocked. Jian Wushuang dared to resist his attack barehanded? And he actually succeeded. Jin Kingdom Monarch. Jian Wushuang hovered, still expressionlessly. He was still holding the black long spear. Being the head of a country and leading so many universe masters and celestial masters, you must be better than this. Get all your strengths out, or it will be dull to beat you. Jian Wushuang's voice spread slowly. At the moment he finished, he flicked his wrists. Then, the Jin Kingdom monarch took a few steps back. After regaining his stance, the Jin Kingdom once again looked at Jian Wushuang with a more serious manner. Jian Wushuang. The Jin Kingdom monarch spoke slowly. I've seen your potential before and know you're very promising, and might pose a threat to me. Now, I still underestimated you. I regret it. Regret? Jian Wushuang was astonished. I regret that, when you wanted to destroy my enduring samsara formation, I didn't wipe you out at all costs. You actually escaped twice from me. The Jin Kingdom monarch sounded cold. If I've killed you at all costs, then it would not be so hard to raise the green fire world to the ground. But now, the Jin Kingdom monarch looked around and wore a terrible face. When the Jin Kingdom first arrived on the battlefield, they had mighty combat power and numerous experts. After the last round of battle, especially after Jian Wushuang's horrifying move, in addition to him, only dozens of universe masters survived. If he wanted to occupy such a large battlefield with so few people, he would be lunatic. The Jin Kingdom has lost the battle. The Jin Kingdom monarch clasped his hands tightly, and although he was extremely unwilling, he had to admit it. With their current combat power, it would be unrealistic to occupy a huge battlefield like this, let alone wipe the green fire world off the face of the earth. Chapter 1242, Universe God. If Jian Wushuang were not there, the monarch of Kingdom Jin could bring doom to the entire green fire world on his own. However, he had tried to measure Jian Wushuang's strength in a tentative attack and realized the latter might not be any stronger than him now, but definitely would not be much weaker. He did not have absolute confidence he could defeat Jian Wushuang, even if they were to fight, flat out. He would not have the chance to eliminate the green fire world as long as Jian Wushuang was in the way. No need for any further nonsense, monarch of Kingdom Jin. The inferno between your country and green fire world has lasted for 5 million years and can only be terminated with the death of either party. Now is the time to settle the accounts between us and between the two forces behind us, said Jian Wushuang in a deep voice. To settle our accounts? The monarch of Kingdom Jin asked, slightly lifting his mouth. You seem to be quite confident, huh? Okay, as you wish, he said. Today's fight will decide to whom this battlefield belongs, and also which of the two forces shall survive, said Jian Wushuang. Bring it, said the monarch of Kingdom Jin. Upon finishing his words, the monarch of Kingdom Jin waved his hands. Immediately, his jade-black long spear disappeared and was replaced with a golden one. The golden long spear shone with brilliant gloss and exhibited mighty strength that spread all over the sky. It was, apparently, much more powerful than the jade-black one. The perceived strength of monarch of Kingdom Jin started to rise fiercely and increased to a new, higher level. His entire body was enveloped by the thick glow of divine-like glory, emitting numerous strands of energy, as well as a terrifying sense of threat. Elites from the two forces on the battlefield all shivered with fear upon perceiving his strength. Retreat, retreat right away, shouted the people on the battlefield. Immediately, the surviving elites from both Kingdom Jin and Green Fire World stopped fighting in unison and retreated to the edge of the battlefield, afraid of being dragged involuntarily into the fierce battle between these peak powers. Standing in the void sky, Jian Wushuang's eyes froze when they perceived the mighty strength exhibited by the monarch of Kingdom Jin. Just as I thought, the monarch of Kingdom Jin didn't reveal his full strength before? Jian Wushuang thought to himself. Jian Wushuang, be cautious. This guy has truly obtained extraordinary strength, said Ji King. The king of venomous worms' voice suddenly sounded. When he attacked earlier, only a fraction of his divine power could be perceived, which led me to conclude that the divine power inside him hadn't been fully transformed. But now, he must have finished the transformation and has become a genuine universe god. Unverse god? The level beyond universe master? Asked Jian Wushuang. Definitely, King of Venomous Worms said and nodded. A universe master would undergo a second transformation from immortal Dharma body to divine body of invincibility. Although the divine body of invincibility is obtained, a universe master still has to extract power from the spiritual power within his system. Thus, he would be half equivalento a god and half to a human. The advancement from Holy Master to Universe Master is just half a step forward, he continued. A full step forward can be taken only if one becomes a universe god, when all spiritual power within his system is transformed into divine power. Only a combination of infinite divine power and divine body of invincibility can create a genuine immortal god, unparalleled in the eternal chaotic world, he explained further. Really? Jian Wushuang said, nodding to himself understandingly. The Universe Master fits between the Holy Master and the Universe God. Becoming a Universe Master was just half a step forward. A full step forward could only be Takini Fi became a Universe God. Yet, obviously, it would not be easy to take a full step forward. A genuine Universe God with complete divine power is extremely powerful, the King of Venomous Worms said solemnly. Extreme power is my pursuit, Jian Wushuang exclaimed, his expression still not changing. He had absolute confidence in his strength now. Having integrated 3 of the most powerful principles for swordsmanship and built my divine body of invincibility, how much more powerful can I become? Jian Wushuang asked. Let me find out with the monarch of Kingdom Jin, he shouted. Jian Wushuang stuck out his tongue, licking his lips. The Blood Mountain sword appeared in his hands. The Blood Mountain sword was a gift from his master, Xianxia. The weapon contained the power to suppress, but did not show much mighty strength on its own. But after having integrated 3 of the most powerful principles for swordsmanship and advancing to higher levels, when he wielded the Blood Mountain sword again, the weapon seemed to be much more powerful than he imagined. Its mighty strength had not been fully revealed until now. The Blood Mountain sword emitted a gentle, echoing sound while shaking madly. It seemed to be cheering because its mighty strength had finally been discovered and activated by Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang could also sense that the Blood Mountain sword was different now. An embryo sword, he exclaimed. Itis, an embryo sword. The King of Venomous Worms said. The King of Venomous Worms spoke in shock to Jian Wushuang's heart. I was wondering why a master of refining weapons like yours had gifted you with an seemingly ordinary sword, a chaos magic treasure off normal level. It's not until now that I've realized that your master has given you an embryo sword, said the King of Venomous Worms. An embryo sword is capable of increasing its own strength continuously through battling and killing. Besides that, if you are able to achieve success in terms of unique skills, the sword's mighty strength can multiply when you incorporate them into it, he continued. An embryo sword of this kind has always been precious and rare to find in the markets of the eternal chaotic world, exclaimed the King of Venomous Worms. Upon hearing the King of Venomous Worms' words, Jian Wushuang smiled distractedly. He did not care whether it or not it was an embryo sword. All he knew was that his Blood Mountain sword was very eager to engage in a fierce battle and was thirsty for blood. It was hungry for the blood of powerful elites. Monarch of Kingdom Jin, Jian Wushuang said, fixing his eyes on the monarch before him. Jian Wushuang, the monarch said, staring back at him. Fire seemed to be burning where their eyes met. No more exchange of words was needed when their eyes met each other. Swoosh! Swoosh! Both of them moved. The 2 of them suddenly appeared at the center of the battlefield. Swordsmanship, Skyfall, shouted Jian Wushuang. Killing intents were welling up and roaring in Jian Wushuang's eyes. He wielded the Blood Mountain sword with both hands and immediately struck downward, following an echoing stern cry. Splat! The entire space was cut apart. Dragon Star! Shouted the monarch of Kingdom Jin. Divine power was springing up from all over the body of the monarch of Kingdom Jin. The golden long spear in his hands transformed into a flash of golden light, like a giant golden dragon, which roared and instantly broke out of a void in the sky. Fueled by divine power, the long spear emitted great and mighty power, enough to shake the whole world. Bang! Following a loud boom, the entire sky was torn apart and opened up a huge, boundless black hole. Both Jian Wushuang and the monarch of Kingdom Jin retreated into the black hole after the shock, but the monarch of Kingdom Jin only backed up 2 steps before being able to stand firmly. Then, he darted out of the hole like a ghost. D! He shouted. The monarch of Kingdom Jin reached Jian Wushuang, piercing his head with the golden long spear without any resistance. Chapter 1243, Summit Battle. The harsh wind was whistling, and the golden long spear pierced through Jian Wushuang's head like lightning, but it appeared not to have touched the flesh. Is it a residual shadow? The monarch of the Jin Kingdom was shocked. A ghostly figure appeared beside the monarch of the Jin Kingdom, and with a slight chuckle the voice rang out, "Sir, you're too slow." Immediately after these words, the sword lit up. Spell of disturbance. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Thousands of sword shadows instantly appeared. After the three strongest levels of the sword principle were integrated, the swordsmanship of Jian Wushuang had been instantly metamorphosized and upgraded. The current spell of disturbance was at least dozens of times stronger than before. Thousands of sword shadows were coming down toward the monarch of the Jin Kingdom. And before the sword shadows arrived, Jian Wushuang's horrible soul attack had already been in full force. Jian Wushuang had just killed nearly 2,000 holy masters of the Jin Kingdom by means of soul attack, which demonstrated just how strong his soul attack was. His soul attack had been used for a wide range earlier, but now it was focused on one person. When the soul attack came, the monarch of the Jin Kingdom felt a slight sting in his mind. And this stinging was getting stronger and stronger with the unceasing swordsmanship attacks from Jian Wushuang. Humph! The monarch of the Jin Kingdom grunted and repeatedly attacked with his long spear. Clang! 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 The continuous crashes resounded through the air. The sky was rocked by each crash. There were nearly 100 crashes per second. In other words, there had almost been 100 head-on impacts between Jian Wushuang and the monarch within such a short time. This speed. At the perimeter of the battlefield, the experts of the two camps were staring with terror at the center of the battlefield broken into pieces. They could feel the power of the impact, but their strength was not enough for them to clearly see the details of the fight between Jian Wushuang and the monarch. Too fast. Both Jian Wushuang and the monarch of the Jin Kingdom were too fast. Even the universe masters were unable to see clearly. If I was in a battle with such speed and power, I would have already died, thought the Xianxia king of the Jin Kingdom with a shocked face. He had been aware of the strength of the monarch of the Jin Kingdom, and therefore he was not surprised at his battle strength. But he did not know that Jian Wushuang could also be so powerful. About 2,000 years before, he had been sent to assassinate Jian Wushuang with several other universe masters of the Jin Kingdom. At that time, Jian Wushuang could not compete with them at all and escaped. But now, Jian Wushuang was able to compete with the monarch, who had always been supreme in the eyes of the Xianxia king. This is power at the level of universe god. Long Shu king of the Jin Kingdom was also standing on the battlefield. His body was trembling, and he had an extremely complicated look on his face. He had always wished to become a universe god, even in his dreams. But unfortunately, he was still far from it. He was not surprised at the monarch's powerful strength because the monarch was a universe god. But he wondered why Jian Wushuang was also so powerful. Although he has made a breakthrough, he is only a universe master. How is it possible that a universe master is able to compete with the monarch? Long Shu King was shocked. There were many invincible universe masters in the eternal chaotic world, and he was one. However, an invincible universe master was only invincible among universe masters. He would always be inferior to a universe god. He had never heard of a universe master competing with a universe god in the eternal chaotic world. But today, he had seen it. A universe master had really contended with a universe god, and their strength was quite equal. At the center of the battlefield, bang, bang. The figures of Jian Wushuang and the monarch crashed into each other fiercely again and again. Red shadow. The divine power was rolling in the hands of the monarch and then gathered onto the long spear. The spear had not yet been thrust, but the world around it had already rocked madly. The power of the long spear accumulated and finally burst out, leaving only a phantom in the void. The long spear shot out like lightning. Jian Wushuang gritted his teeth and disfigured his face. Then the Blood Mountain sword instantly flew out from his hand. The unique skill of swordsmanship. The stroke of dawn, Jian Wushuang shouted. The two terrifying attacks collided. For a time, the sky and the earth were shattering. After this impact, The monarch obviously could not resist the force. He could not help but fall back a few steps before he could regain his stance. His strength is even more powerful than my divine power? The monarch could not believe it. He did not know that Jian Wushuang had an inverse cultivation. Although Jian Wushuang was just a universe master, inverse cultivation could upgrade his strength to a higher level. In other words, a universe master with inverse cultivation was almost as powerful as a universe god. More importantly, Jiang Wushuang's inverse cultivation had been integrated with the strongest 3 levels of sword principle. Moreover, Jiang Wushuang was a 4-star imperial god at the highest level. In addition, Jian Wushuang also had the blood-killing plate armor, which could burst out stage 2 power and cause his offensive power to skyrocket again. All of these had made the current Jian Wushuang extremely powerful. Jiang Wushuang was not inferior to a universe god with divine power, so universe master in defiance of the natural order, he could overwhelm a universe god. It was because Jian Wushuang was a universe master in defiance of the natural order. He is not only better than me in terms of power, but his speed is also faster than mine. As for the defense, the monarch could not help but think of the scene where Jian Wushuang had taken his long spear with bare hands. If I was facing a long spear like that, I would never have had the guts to take it with bare hands. He thought, Jian Wushuang must have a very strong divine body that is beyond my imagination. He is just a universe master, but he is better than me in terms of strength, speed, and defense. The monarch asked himself. He raised his head and cast a look to Jian Wushuang like a fierce beast. If I cannot have the upper hand in terms of strength, speed, and defense, then I must resort to my unique skills. The monarch screamed, and his divine power was tumbling. Immediately there was a huge ocean formed by the divine power spreading around. His whole body was filled with a horrible aura, and his eyes became scarlet. A golden thunderbolt was rising slowly from his golden long spear. The experts of the 2 camps around the battlefield were all horrified. Everyone held his breath and looked over to the monarch. Chapter 1244, Nirvana. At the center of the battlefield, the monarch of the Jin kingdom threw the long spear out of his hand, and his whole divine power suddenly burst forth. Unique skill. Immortality god, he shouted. Roar. With a sudden violent roar, a massive thunderbolt gathered on the fierce golden spear. In an instant, it formed an enormous golden thunderbolt exotic beast. This golden thunderbolt exotic beast was more than tens of thousands of miles in size. Its whole body was covered with golden thunderbolt. Once it was formed, it opened its bloody mouth and rushed directly at Jian Wushuang. Its horrible power would terrify the entire universe. Everyone around the battlefield was also horrified to see the golden thunderbolt exotic beast that appeared out of nowhere. Immortality god. This was the strongest move that the monarch had performed in this battle. Universe god. Unique skill. When Jiyu King saw this, he was shocked. Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes and then turned back to look over toward the experts of the Green Fire World. 5 million years. Jian Wushuang murmured. It's been 5 million years of fights, and our Green Fire World has lost too many experts. The grievances between the Green Fire World and the Jin Kingdom must be settled today. Then Jian Wushuang looked at the Blood Mountain sword in his hand. The power of the Blood Mountain sword surged, and the sword trembled with skyrocketing sword essence. The next sword attack, it is not for the sake of revenge for the many experts who died in the past 5 million years. It is not for letting out the endless anger of our Green Fire World. It is for the future of our Green Fire World and for our future generations. Jian Wushuang exclaimed. It is to completely end this war, to let my Green Fire be reborn, and to usher in a new era. The name of the next sword attack is Nirvana. Jian Wushuang spoke very slowly so that everyone in the place could hear it clearly. At this moment, his vast force had been integrated into the Blood Mountain sword. The 3 strongest sword principles combined. Jian Wushuang's understanding of the sword principles had also increased to the highest point. An intoxicating sword light suddenly appeared on the Blood Mountain sword and became more and more resplendent. Go! Jian Wushuang talked to the sword light, which then suddenly burst out. Since the stroke of dawn, the second unique skill created by Jian Wushuang, Nirvana, had also come to the world. The Stroke of Dawn was created by him when he had opened up the two strongest sword principles. Now he had opened up all three strongest sword principles and integrated them. When he was fighting fiercely in the decisive battle, he had a lot of deep understandings of the sword principles. With all of these prerequisites, he created the second unique skill, Nirvana. Jian Wushuang created this move in order to create a new era for the Green Fire world. It represented the future of the Green Fire world. It was also the hope of the Green Fire world. At the moment when the sword light was plucked, everyone could not help but be attracted to it. While the huge golden thunderbolt exotic beast was rushing in, the sword light went directly into its bloody mouth. The two collided. Buzz! There was no violent crashing sound as expected, but only the slight sound of tremors. However, the next moment the vast world began to tremble wildly. The earth below. The land that had been stained with blood was crushed immediately. Dust and gravel were crushed into powder. A huge sinkhole, hundreds of thousands of miles wide and more than 300 meters deep, appeared in the ground. At the same time, the collision also formed a blast wave, sweeping out in all directions. The experts in the two camps at the perimeter of the battlefield were swept by the blast wave for the first time. Puff! 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 There were sounds of vomiting blood one after another. The experts were all hit by the impact. The remaining Dao Masters of the Green Fire world were all blown away. Go hide behind the battle fortress. The Tang Emperor immediately issued an order. The Dao Masters of the Green Fire world hurriedly fled to the battle fortress. In the middle of the battlefield, the two powers were still squeezing and slamming onto each other. But the stalemate had only lasted for a moment. And then the sword light became more brilliant. Voila! The golden exotic beast's bloody mouth was immediately cut open by the thunderbolt, and then the beast disappeared. What? The monarch of the Jin Kingdom was shocked. His strongest move was completely crushed by Jian Wushuang. After defeating the golden exotic beast, the brilliant sword light appeared in front of the monarch. The monarch had no time to resist. Boom! The sword light carried an endless power and hit the monarch in his chest. The defense skill of the monarch was immediately crushed, and then his chest exploded. Whoosh! The monarch transformed into a golden flowing light and stumbled tens of thousands of miles backward before he could regain his stance. After he stopped, the people around the battlefield immediately looked over. And then everyone was horrified. The experts of the Jin Kingdom could not even believe their eyes. The golden robe of the monarch was ruined and stained with blood, and his hair was disheveled. The most striking thing was the bowl-size hole of blood in the chest of the monarch. This blood hole nearly penetrated the monarch's chest completely. How miserable it was! How can this be? The monarch actually lost. The invincible monarch has lost to a universe master of the Green Fire world? How is this possible? There were terrible screams from the camp of the Jin Kingdom. The universe masters of the Jin Kingdom could not believe what they had seen. The monarch of the Jin Kingdom was a universe god. He was a genuine expert even in the eternal chaotic world. How could he lose to a universe master? They really could not accept this fact. Contrary to the Jin Kingdom, the Green Fire world rejoiced. Victory! His Highness has defeated the monarch of the Jin Kingdom. Kill him, Palace Master Wushuang. Kill him. The voices full of killing intent rang through the sky. Everyone in the Green Fire world looked at the monarch of the Jin Kingdom. Their eyes were filled with endless resentment. Chapter 1245, Trump Card of the Monarch. Kill him. Wushuang Palace Master, strike him down. He must die. As yellings full of resentment and killing intent kept reaching his ears, Jian Wushuang's face turned grave. The Jin Kingdom was against us for all the past 5 million years, and the Green Fire Palace suffered heavy losses during this period of time. Especially in those 2 consecutive battles, many of our high-level experts lost their lives. The monarch of the Jin Kingdom is the one who caused all of this. To completely end this, I must kill the monarch of the Jin Kingdom. However, why is he still alive? I thrust my sword into his chest, and his heart should be smashed now. Jian Wushuang thought in surprise. He meant to kill the monarch with the blow. Nevertheless, the king was just badly hurt after receiving the blow. Jian Wushuang, the monarch of the Jin Kingdom, is a universe god. His divine power and divine body have already reached the perfect realm, and so has his life core. Besides, he's capable of using some skills to protect his life core. Although you crushed his heart, you failed to destroy his life core. That's why he's still alive, said Jiyu King. This monarch's life core is hidden inside his head. If you want to take his life, you must smash his head to pieces. Can I really end his life by breaking his head? Jian Wushuang thought, his eyes filled with a strong killing intent. The monarch of the Jin Kingdom was now several thousand kilometers away from Jian Wushuang. He was trembling with fear, looking surprised. He had never expected himself to be defeated by Jian Wushuang, a universe master. Monarch of the Jin Kingdom. Jian Wushuang suddenly roared to the monarch. The monarch raised his head immediately and caught sight of the murderous look in Jian Wushuang's eyes. Today, you must die, Jian Wushuang said in a cold voice as he came at the monarch. The monarch's face turned ferocious as he responded with a snort. Jian Wushuang, I admit that your cultivation levels are above mine, but do you really believe that you can take my life? I do not think you can do that. As soon as the monarch finished his sentence, he waved his hand to summon a flowing silver light. The silver light was moving at a shocking speed. In the blink of an eye, it had come close to Jian Wushuang. Suddenly, it transformed into a streak of lightning and dashed toward Jian Wushuang with amazing speed and ferocity. What's this? Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows in surprise and immediately brandished his sword to fend off the attack. Clang! A deafening sound rang out. Jian Wushuang could not help stepping backward. The experts of the Green Fire world, who were watching the fight around the battlefield, were shocked. They found it hard to believe that the silver thing could easily knock Jian Wushuang away. After all, Jian Wushuang had demonstrated his strength not long ago. His strength was obviously stronger than that of the monarch. Even when the monarch had performed at his highest level, Jian Wushuang had been able to ward off his attacks. When Jian Wushuang managed to stand on his feet again, he narrowed his eyes and gazed at the silver-armored burly man. His countenance turned grim, as he said through gritted his teeth, "Fire puppet." The flowing silver light which had forced Jian Wushuang to step backward instantly was a fire puppet. It used to belong to the Green Fire world. To break a formation, the Green Fire Palace had sent it out to stop the monarch of the Jin Kingdom during a previous battle, but instead of removing the formation, it had been taken away by the monarch. Now the monarch used it against Jian Wushuang. Damn it! His fire gems. That's why he's able to manipulate the fire puppet, said Jian Wushuang. One had to use fire gems to manipulate a fire puppet. After countless years of search on the battlefield, the Green Fire Palace had only collected a small amount of fire gems, and during the previous battle, they had run out of them. Jian Wushuang had once thought that the monarch would have never been unable to control the puppet even after getting some fire gems, but now it turned out that he had underestimated this monarch. Fire gems are rare indeed, but if a universe god is interested in them, he can always manage to get some. The monarch of the Jin Kingdom probably happens to have some fire gems in his hands. Jiyu King's voice sounded in Jian Wushuang's mind. Jian Wushuang agreed with Jiyu King. All the bases of the Jin Kingdom on this battlefield had been destroyed by the Green Fire Palace. Given this, it was impossible for the monarch to get any fire gem from this battlefield. Therefore, there was only one explanation for this: he had attained some fire gems from somewhere else. In fact, the monarch had indeed possessed some fire gems before he came to this world, but his gems were not enough to activate the fire puppet. He was able to manipulate the fire puppet now since he had bought plenty of fire gems from Zhu Shi. Zhu Shi was a master in formation, and many formations required gems. That was why Zhu Shi owned lots of different rare gems, including fire gems. She had sold all of her fire gems to the monarch of the Jin Kingdom at a costly price. With the help of those fire gems, the monarch finally succeeded in manipulating the fire puppet. I have many fire gems. Although they're not enough to make this fire puppet exert its full strength, they can make the puppet release more power and fight longer than it did when it was under your manipulation, the monarch said with a snort. Now I have this fire puppet. I'll wait and see who'll be killed in the end. The monarch ordered Fire Puppet with a hideous look, Strike him down. Now the fire puppet was under the control of the monarch of the Jin kingdom. Hearing his order, it dashed towards Jian Wushuang without hesitation. A flash of silver light streaked across the void. Even Jian Wushuang could only barely capture its movement. It's moving so fast. Jian Wushuang exclaimed inside. I can perceive that this fire puppet owns an overwhelming battle strength. I guess that it has almost entered the peak realm of a universe god. This puppet is much stronger than the monarch. Jian Wushuang, be careful. Jiyu King warned. Jian Wushuang nodded seriously. When the silver-armored fire puppet came at him with its silver-long spear, Jian Wushuang immediately dashed forward to confront it with a determined look in his eyes. In the center of the battlefield, Jian Wushuang and the fire puppet had gotten into a fierce battle again. However, this battle only lasted seconds. Bang! A creepy explosion of energy rang out. Suddenly, a shadow above the void was falling down into the sinkhole in the ground. It was Jian Wushuang. The next moment, he flew up again, looking a little bit haggard. Chapter 1246. 10 Breaths. Strong. Jian Wushuang stared at the fire puppet. He had not yet fully recovered from the shock. Our fight is brief, and during the fight, I even did not have a chance to strike back. This fire puppet is indeed much stronger than me, thought Jian Wushuang. Jiyu King, you've just told me that this fire puppet's battle strength is close to that of a top-notch universe god. Jian Wushuang groaned. But during the previous fight, I felt that its levels are far above those of a universe god. This fire puppet is much more powerful than the monarch of the Jin kingdom. There's an amazing gap between the top-notch universe gods and the ordinary ones. The top-notch universe gods can easily finish off a bunch of ordinary universe gods. In terms of battle strength, the monarch of the Jin kingdom is only a middle level and much weaker than those top-notch gods. But this fire puppet has almost stepped into the peak realm of a universe god. No doubt it's a much tougher opponent than the monarch, Jiyu King explained. I see, Jian Wushuang responded. As a martial arts cultivator, he quickly understood that. Jian Wushuang. The monarch's voice was heard again. You do have an impressive talent in cultivation. I've never met a cultivator more gifted than you in the eternal chaotic world. But unfortunately, you cannot take my life. I lost the fight today, but I hope that you'll never naively think that the Green Fire Palace can occupy this vast battlefield forever. Do not forget that I'm from the eternal chaotic world and I'm an influential figure there. It'll not take long before I invite several of my good friends here. At that time, let's see how you're going to stop us. With these words, the monarch of the Jin kingdom laughed loudly. Upon hearing this, Jian Wushuang's eyes turned colder and sharper. He must die. Jian Wushuang gave off a strong sense of killing intent. He knew that the Green Fire world would never be in peace as long as the monarch of the Jin kingdom was alive. To kill the monarch, he must get rid of this fire puppet first. Considering his current strength, he thought that there was only one way to achieve that goal. Boom! Jian Wushuang's aura began to swell and flow. Meanwhile, another unique power inside his body was surging. Jian Wushuang, are you going to use that technique? Jiyu King asked. Yeah, Jian Wushuang nodded gravely. Only in this way can my strength be suddenly increased by 10 times. With that strength, I'll be able to get rid of the fire puppet and finish off the monarch of the Jin kingdom. It's feasible, but you cannot maintain that strength for a long time. You'll have to hurry up, Jiyu King warned. I know, Jian Wushuang responded. His eyes sparkled with resolution. The next moment, a unique power hidden inside him burst out. This was the star's power. Jian Wushuang was exerting secret skills of stars. Only disciples of lineage of Star from Star Palace who had passed the ultimate trial on Star Island were qualified to practice this overwhelming secret skills of Star Palace. The secret skills were recorded in 3 volumes, and now Jian Wushuang was displaying the techniques in the first one. As soon as the secret skills of stars took effect, Jian Wushuang felt the increased powers. I have to finish this within 10 breaths. Jian Wushuang clenched his fists. Kill! Without any hesitation, Jian Wushuang dashed toward the monarch. Fire puppet! Stop him! The monarch of the Jin Kingdom commanded. Fire Puppet came at Jian Wushuang with its silver-long spear. Jian Wushuang confronted it, his blood mountain sword in his hand emitting blazing light. Fire Puppet had outclassed Jian Wushuang in their previous fights. Nevertheless, now Jian Wushuang was not weaker than the Fire Puppet. Instead, he even seemed a little bit stronger than it. Besides, Jian Wushuang was also versed in the use of a sword. Puppet Fighter was just a puppet. Although puppets boasted impressive strength and defensive power, they lacked flexibility and techniques in fighting compared to human cultivators. Now they were well matched regarding battle strength. However, with resorting to his extraordinary sword skills, Jian Wushuang had only spent 4 breath time throwing Fire Puppet away. Only 6 breaths left. Jian Wushuang gazed at the monarch of the Jin Kingdom, his eyes filled with a strong killing intent. As soon as he got rid of the Fire Puppet, he came at the monarch. That's bad. The monarch of the Jin Kingdom panicked when he saw Jian Wushuang rapidly approaching him. He understood everything from the murderous look in Jian Wushuang's eyes. Run! I have to escape now. The monarch turned around and fled away. At the same time, he gave orders to the Fire Puppet. Hurry! Stop him! Stop him now! However, after taking the blow, the Fire Puppet was now far away from Jian Wushuang. When it stood up and came at Jian Wushuang again, it was already too late for it to stop him. Jian Wushuang was faster than the monarch of the Jin Kingdom. Now with the assistance of Star's power, his speed boosted up. Although the monarch was on the run with his full strength, Jian Wushuang still managed to get closer and closer to him. 50,000 kilometers. 45,000 kilometers. 40,000 kilometers. The monarch used to be at least several thousands of kilometers away from Jian Wushuang, but now Jian Wushuang was catching up quickly. Time fled away when Jian Wushuang was hunting down the monarch. His secret skills of Star Palace could only last 10 breaths. It had taken him 4 breaths to get rid of the Fire Puppet. Now he had only 6 breaths left. During the process of pursuing, he was secretly counting down the breaths he had. 5, 4, 3. At last, Jian Wushuang caught up with the monarch of the Jin Kingdom. Now, he was left with only 1 breath time before the secret skill of stars lost its effect. 1 breath is enough, thought Jian Wushuang. He stared at the monarch's back, a strong killing intent flickering in his eyes. Spell of disturbance. Whirring. Fierce gales enveloped the monarch. Jian Wushuang brandished his sword with his full strength. Spell of disturbance was not a unique skill. However, once the practitioner used it properly, it could be more formidable than a unique skill. Besides, Jian Wushuang had used the secret skills of stars at the same time. Whoosh! 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 Streaks of sword light were shot out, and they quickly covered the monarch. No! The monarch gave off a sad, shrill roar while desperately warding off those sword lights. However, Chapter 1247, The Jin Kingdom Monarch, Prepare to Die. Clang! 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 A series of clashes sounded throughout the void. The hurricane of madness swept through and lasted only for a few seconds. After that, the gale died down. During a few seconds, Jian Wushuang did his best to strike 136 times. Every blow was at its fullest power, and every strike was accompanied by a soul attack and the power of the stars. The Jin Kingdom desperately fended off 135 times but missed the last strike. It was this last blow that pierced his head. Am I going to die? The Jin Kingdom monarch's head was penetrated, and the life core in the skull was instantly crushed. He gradually fell silent. Before he died, he still couldn't help but look at Jian Wushuang with eyes full of resentment and amazement. He had been in the eternal chaotic world for a long time, knowing how dangerous the world was, and that he would end up dead someday. But he never thought of dying in the hands of a universe master in a small chaotic world of the eternal chaotic world. Clang! His last consciousness disappeared, and his body slowly fell to the ground. Jian Wushuang stopped his body. He released immense power to shatter his body into dust and fetched his interspatial ring. In addition, Jian Wushuang took the unowned flame deity puppet that stood still on the spot when the Jin Kingdom monarch died. After doing all this, Jian Wushuang let out a heavy sigh of relief. At the edge of the battlefield, experts from two camps who witnessed his killing the Jin Kingdom monarch were all stunned. The Green Fire World soldiers were, otherwise, elated. The remaining universe masters of the Jin Kingdom were all dumbfounded. The Lord died? Jian Wushuang killed the Lord? We. The Jin Kingdom universe masters all froze there. But at this moment, someone looked at them coldly. Then Jin Kingdom universe masters were all stunned. They noticed Jian Wushuang's gaze and the killing intent in his eyes. They immediately realized that Jian Wushuang was not going to let them off. Run! A Jin Kingdom universe master escaped, and at the same time, shouted to warn others. In Jian Wushuang's eyes, he detected something bad. Following him, other Jin Kingdom universe masters also fled. They fled in all directions, even dived into under the ground. They had used all their skills to flee. They desperately fled. They knew that if they stayed, they would all be killed by Jian Wushuang. The Jin Kingdom had died in the hands of Jian Wushuang. If they stayed, they would all be slaughtered by Jian Wushuang. Humph! Jian Wushuang dashed at an incredible speed. Although the star's secret skill has stopped, only his power of stars ran out, his spiritual power was not affected. He still had plenty of battle strength. When he sped up, he could easily catch up with the Jin Kingdom universe masters. On the battlefield, Jian Wushuang dashed and rushed. He appeared in front of the Jin Kingdom universe masters and casually attacked them with swordsmanship or soul attack. None of the universe masters had resisted him, including the strongest Long Shu King and Red Snow King. A slaughter. But the slaughter only lasted for a short time. During that moment, among the more than 50 remaining Jin Kingdom universe masters, while only around 10 of them escaped, others were reduced to nothing. The woman escaped. Jian Wushuang stood in the void, staring coldly in some direction. The glamorous woman Zhu Shi who arranged the enduring samsara formation escaped in that direction. Zhu Shi possessed a remarkable life-saving ability. And she was smarter than other people. When she sensed something wrong, she immediately fled. Jian Wushuang did not chase her. However, although she escaped from Jian Wushuang, she could not escape the battlefield because of the formation in the void around the battlefield. Although some Jin Kingdom soldiers escaped, these people won't come back. Anyway, this battle is over. Jian Wushuang clasped his hands tightly. The Jin Kingdom monarch was killed. A large number of Jin Kingdom experts were slaughtered. Only a dozen of universe masters fled. Today was finally curtains for the battle. It's over. This battle is finally over. Our Green Fire World survived. The Jin Kingdom was gone. The Green Fire World experts all exclaimed. They won the war. The Green Fire World won, and the Jin Kingdom was destroyed. However, even if they won, the remaining Green Fire World experts could not rejoice over the victory. There were no shouts of happiness, just bitter sighs. They won the battle, but they still lost a lot. Too many Green Fire World experts deceased. They paid a too high price. Samsara Temple Master, Void Temple Master, Palace Master Red Lotus. Jian Wushuang repeated their names. Jian Wushuang looked up at a void in the battle fortress. At the next moment, he dashed out and then appeared in the battle fortress. In the void above the void, a figure stood there quietly. It was Xianxia. Master. Jian Wushuang stopped in front of Xianxia. You came. Xianxia turned his head and smiled. He still sounded gentle. But Jian Wushuang saw that Xianxia aged overnight, and his aura became unstable. When the oil ran out, the light went out. Xianxia's oil had run out. He was having the last breaths of his life. Seeing this, Jian Wushuang quivered and clenched his hands. This is the mountain river map I borrowed from you. Here you are. Xianxia smiled and handed over the map in his hand. When Jian Wushuang devised the 3 strongest sword principles and began to merge them, Xianxia had pulled the enduring samsara formation samsara into the mountain river map. He had completely repaired the mountain river map. Chapter 1248. Departure. After handing the mountain river map, before Jian Wushuang could speak, Xianxia once again took out a token. "This is for you too," Xianxia said. "This is?" Jian Wushuang looked at the token doubtfully. "The token contains a technique you've cultivated, which is the universal Tao scripture." Xianxia smiled. "But now I'll give you the second volume of the universal Tao scripture." The second volume? Jian Wushuang was dumbfounded. At that time, Xianxia gave him the universal Tao scripture, and later he knew that the universal Tao scripture enhanced one's consciousness intensity. This kind of technique was precious even in the eternal chaotic world. Now, Xianxia offered him the second volume of the universal Tao scripture. The first volume of the universal Tao scripture improves the consciousness, while the second one enhances the soul. Xianxia smiled. "What?" Jian Wushuang was shocked. "Improve the soul power." Jiu King inside Jian Wushuang was also shocked. If the method of improving the consciousness was considered extremely precious in the eternal chaotic world, then the method of elevating the soul power was a true treasure. After all, the level of the strength of soul was too high. These methods had always been only available to experts like the founder of the Star Bloodline and King Luo Zhan. It was really a valuable technique. However now, Xianxia was giving such a technique to Jian Wushuang. "I still have a formation too." Xianxia took out a jade slip. "It is for the Green Fire World." "A formation?" Jian Wushuang looked at Xianxia in doubt. The Green Fire World is in a very unique position. Although it has already defeated one Jin kingdom, there might be more foreign powers similar to or even stronger than the Jin kingdom. By then, your Green Fire World will surely become engaged again," Xianxia said. Jian Wushuang fell silent. Since the Green Fire World came into existence, 3 batches of experts were born. The 4th batch of experts would soon come into being in the future. "I give you this formation, and then you need to pass it to Palace Master Yun, who is good at setting up formations. With his knowledge of formation and the formation instructions, he will set it up. Once the formation is formed, it will keep the Green Fire World safe forever." Xianxia smiled. Jian Wushuang squinted. If Xianxia said the formation could keep the Green Fire World safe and sound, the formation must be extraordinary. "I have been in the Green Fire World for a long time. I have never done anything for it. Now I'll leave this formation to make up for my neglect." Xianxia smiled. "If the Green Fire World is safe and sound, you will have nothing to worry about. In the future, you can enter and venture into the eternal chaotic world at will." Hearing Xianxia, Jian Wushuang was shocked. In the future, he was bound to enter the eternal chaotic world. Whether it was for Leng Rushuang or for himself, he had to go to the eternal chaotic world. But if the Green Fire World was in danger, he would worry about it even when he was venturing into the eternal chaotic world. If Xianxia's formation could keep the Green Fire World safe and sound, Xianxia would help him a lot. "Master!" Jian Wushuang clasped his hands and looked at Xianxia, his face reddish. He saw Xianxia's condition, but even if Xianxia was in such a condition, he was still thinking for his disciple. He gave him the second volume of the universal Tao scripture, and the formation to protect his home and family. Xianxia had been helping him all the time. However, Xianxia never asked for anything in return. He had never. Even at this moment, he did not have any last wish. This kindness. Flop. Jian Wushuang knelt down. "I will always remember your kindness." Jian Wushuang's voice quavered as he respectfully kowtowed to Xianxia. Xianxia just watched him kowtow 3 times. He slowly waved. "Get up." Jian Wushuang got up. "I've received 4 disciples. You're the most talented and I anticipate your future the most. I hope to see you grow. By now, I've done everything I can. In the next years, you can only rely on yourself. Work hard, maybe one day, you and me, will see each other again." Xianxia's voice still sounded calm, his face still smiling. When his voice died down completely, his body slowly became transparent. His figure was getting more and more transparent and eventually disappeared completely. Jian Wushuang stood there with his hands clenched. As Xianxia's body gradually disappeared, he was sick at heart. "Jian Wushuang, you don't have to be sad. If I didn't guess wrong, your master has always existed in this special way. He's not a doppelganger or a fragment of consciousness, but an inexplicable matter. Jiu Qing's voice rang in Jian Wushuang's ears. He has always existed in this state, and he must have his own reason. Although he has disappeared now, it does not mean that he really died. As he said, maybe one day, you two will meet each other again. I see. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. He knew that his master's words were meaningful. Master had great knowledge of weapon refining, formation, and elixirs. His knowledge didn't belong in the green fire world. He must come from outside the green fire world. He must come from somewhere extraordinary. But over the years, he has always existed in the green fire world in an incomparably unique state. He must have his reason. I just can't find out. He educated me and 3 senior brothers but never asked for anything from us. Even before he disappeared, he never asked me anything. Jian Wushuang murmured and muttered as he shook his head. His master had always been mysterious. From the moment Xianxia received Jian Wushuang as his disciple, Xianxia had always been mysterious. Even when he disappeared, Jian Wushuang still found him mysterious. Because from the beginning to the end, Jian Wushuang never knew Xianxia's background and purpose. Perhaps, when I am strong enough to be at the master's level, I will know. Strength. Standing in the front of the void where Xianxia disappeared, Jian Wushuang's eyes flashed with excitement. Chapter 1249. Back in Chiliwind Valley. Within a towering palace, a row of thrones stood. All the remaining Green Fire World Palace Masters gathered here. At that time, because of the Nirvana elixirs, the Green Fire World brought forth more than 20 Palace Masters. Nevertheless, after the previous battle, only 7 people survived. Naturally, Jian Wushuang led the rest 7 Palace Masters. Palace Master Yun, my teacher gave me a formation, and I want to know that if you can arrange it. Jian Wushuang handed the jade slip containing the formation to Palace Master Yun and said, my teacher said, once this formation is arranged, our Green Fire World will be safe and sound. Upon hearing this, Palace Master Yun's eyes flashed with excitement, and then, he carefully studied the formation. Tang Emperor. Jian Wushuang turned to Tang Emperor beside him. The battle between our Green Fire World and the Jin Kingdom has ended. The remaining Dao Masters can return home. In addition, a large number of experts have fallen. This is bound to influence the forces in our world, especially the Samsara Temples and Void Temples force. Samsara Temple Master and Void Temple Master fought to the death. We won't win the war without them. Although they were gone, we have to take care of their soldiers. And experts that decreased during the war, we won't let them die in vain. I hope you can arrange them for me. Yes, I will. Tang Emperor nodded slightly. Father. Jian Wushuang looked to Jian Nantian again. In this battle, some of the Jin Kingdom experts escaped, but they can't escape from this battlefield. They must hide in this battlefield. The Jin Kingdom has been destroyed, they won't survive long. I want you and other Palace Masters to find them and kill them for me. If we don't remove them, sooner or later, they will be a big trouble for our Green Fire World. Yes, I will. Jian Nantian accepted the mission. At this time, Palace Master Yun raised his head again, and his eyes appeared vicious. Wushuang Palace Master, I've studied the formation you gave me. Although it is very difficult and cumbersome, given adequate time and sufficient resources, I guarantee I'll arrange this formation. Once it was arranged, indeed, as Master Xianxia said, our Green Fire World will be safe and sound. Even forces 10 times stronger than the Jin Kingdom can't break into this battlefield again. Palace Master Yun said excitedly. Great. Hearing Palace Master Yun, other Palace Masters all became pleasantly surprised. Jian Wushuang faintly smiled. Palace Master Yun, then I will trouble you to arrange the formation. If you need material resources, you can fetch them in the Fire Point Exchange Office. If the resources run out, just inform me. Jian Wushuang killed the Jin Kingdom monarch and a lot of Jin Kingdom experts. Thus, he received countless treasure resources. Although he had put most of the treasures in Fire Point Exchange Office, he kept some rare treasures that were not helpful for Green Fire World to himself. Thus, he had plenty of rare treasures in his hands. No problem, you'll see. Palace Master Yun smiled confidently. The war ended, everything quieted down. Jian Wushuang and several palace masters discussed and arranged other affairs. Then, Jian Wushuang headed to the vast battlefield. He was heading to Chilliwind Valley. Back then, when he was hunted by Red Snow King and others, Jian Wushuang's first original body was forced to die here. Now Jian Wushuang visited it again. This Chilliwind Valley is quite weird. There must be treasures that are extremely cold underneath. Unfortunately, I was too weak to enter the bottom of the valley. Now I've improved, I might as well have a try. Looking at the unfathomable huge pit in front of him, Jian Wushuang was expectant. Of course, although he was quite confident about his current strength, Jian Wushuang remained careful. He first waited quietly outside the sinkhole. Soon, boom, the land shook. It's coming. Jian Wushuang's face lit up. As the shake grew stronger and stronger, a horrifying blood-cold wind blew fiercely. It was a wind that could easily smash universe masters. He used to avoid it, but now, even when the blood-cold wind was in full swing, he still stepped forward and entered within its range. Boom! The strong breeze washed over Jian Wushuang with terrifying force. Frowning, Jian Wushuang endured the fierce gale. He was still on his feet when the blood-cold wind died down. I was right. My current body, coupled with the blood-killing plate armor's defense, allowed me to withstand the blood-cold wind. Jian Wushuang grinned. He had combined the 3 strongest sword principles and obtained the immortal divine body, which was far more mighty than a normal universe master's. He had cultivated a protective secret skill golden image. He was at the second stage of the secret skill and thus acquired powerful defensive skills. Moreover, he had the blood-killing plate armor that had weakened the impact of the blood-cold wind by more than 9/10. These 3 means combined to make his defensive ability to surge. His defensive power was far stronger than that of ordinary universe gods. Thus, he was able to resist the blood-cold wind. Knowing that the blood-cold wind could not pose a threat to him, Jian Wushuang immediately swept toward the bottom of the Chilliwind Valley. All the way down, he contained his speed. But after a short while, he was already more than 100,000 miles deep under the ground. It's been 100,000 miles, but I still can't see the end of the valley. The Chilliwind Valley is really deep enough. Jian Wushuang thought to himself. But at this time, his soul power that had been released before, suddenly found something floating below. It was a gold gourd. That's. Seeing the gold gourd, Jian Wushuang's face lit up. At the next moment, his figure appeared in front of the gold gourd and stretched to seize it. It's really my blaze quicksand gourd. Jian Wushuang rejoiced over his founding. The moment he held it in his hands, he sensed something in his heart. This was the blaze quicksand gourd that he lost in this Chilliwind Valley. Although he lost it, he did not cancel his ownership on the blaze quicksand gourd. Thus, when he held it, Jian Wushuang felt something. I found my blaze quicksand gourd. If I go deeper into the bottom of this Chilliwind Valley. Jian Wushuang squinted to scrutinize the bottom of the valley that seemed endless and frowned. The bottom of the valley scared him. As he got closer and closer to the bottom, the horror grew stronger and stronger. Chapter 1250, The Holy Prefecture. Since the Chilliwind Valley is full of dangers, the blood-cold wind is definitely not the only one danger within. I have integrated 3 strongest sword principles and become a universe master. Furthermore, my 2 original bodies have become a whole as well. So, if I die here again, I cannot reborn anymore. Forget it. Jian Wushuang sighed slightly. He gave up the idea of going deep into the Chilliwind Valley and flew out of it. Right at this moment, a flash of red light shone at the bottom of the Chilliwind Valley. It was extremely chilling, and after a short while, it disappeared again. After regaining the blaze quicksand gourd, Jian Wushuang returned to the battle fortress immediately. His journey seemed smooth, but it took him nearly 10 years in fact. During this period, the war in the Green Fire world had nearly come to the end. Although the Green Fire world had been thrown into turmoil due to the great loss of its experts, it calmed down under the suppression of Tang Emperor and the other palace masters. 12 years after the final war, Palace Master Yun came to Jian Wushuang. Palace Master Wushuang, we have set up that formation. Palace Master Yun said. Finished? So fast? Jian Wushuang's expression changed slightly. Although it's complicated, Master Xianxia has left the clear steps of setting it up in the token. As for the necessary sources, we can get what we want at the Firepoint Exchange Office. Besides, the foundation of the former formation still exists, so it's not that difficult for us to set it up again. Palace Master Yun said smilingly. With the protection of this formation, our green fire world finally can live in a peaceful life again. Jian Wushuang said with a smile. Palace Master Wushuang, there's one more thing. Palace Master Yun added. Jian Wushuang looked at Palace Master Yun. After the formation was set up, I found that there's someone who has been trying to recover the tunnel connecting our world and the outside world. This person's skills are very brilliant. If I guess correctly, that person should be the woman who activated the enduring samsara formation before. Palace Master Yun said seriously, among the remaining experts of the Jin Kingdom, only she could have such a capability on formations. That woman? Jian Wushuang's eyes suddenly turned grim. They were referring to Ju Shi, of course. At the final war, she escaped while noticing the situation was unfavorable. Palace Master Yun, since you could feel that she is trying to recover the portal, I guess you know her location. Jian Wushuang said. Of course. That's why I came here to inform you of her location. Palace Master Yun said with a smile. Great. Jian Wushuang clasped his hands and asked, then tell me please. After knowing Ju Shi's current location, Jian Wushuang set off at once. A cold and elegant woman, Ju Shi, stood in a secluded void above the huge battlefield, with some formation flags floating in front of her. These flags were giving off a formidable aura. Obviously, Ju Shi was setting up a formation. To be precise, she was destroying a formation. She was trying to destroy the huge formation that the Green Fire World's experts had set up around the battlefield. Because it was connected with the space storm around this battlefield, so she paid a huge price and then succeeded in allowing the army of the Jin Kingdom to intrude into the formation. Now, it was impossible for her to destroy it again on her own. However, she did not plan to totally destroy it. She wished to destroy a small part of it so that it could allow her to send a message out. She enjoyed some reputation in her sect, so only if she could send a message to the experts of her sect, someone would come and save her. Damn, I'm almost made it, but the Green Fire World suddenly changed another formation, which was several times more complicated than before. Ju Shi gritted her teeth and her facial expression changed. When she came to this battlefield with the monarch of the Jin Kingdom, she had never expected the monarch to die here. Therefore, she had not prepared any route of retreat for herself. Now, she was trapped in this battlefield and it was really difficult for her to contact with the outside world. Right at this moment. Whoosh! An invisible power swept across this void. Ju Shi perceived that and turned around as soon as possible. She saw a young figure showing up behind her. Jian Wushuang? Ju Shi turned pale with fright. How is this possible? How could you find me? A possibility came to her mind at once. Her located had been presumably figured out by him while she was destroying the formation. Looking at the elegant woman who had gotten into a panic, Jian Wushuang lifted his hand slowly. An immense amount of power had already gathered in his hand. No, Jian Wushuang, you cannot kill me. Ju Shi screamed right now. She knew Jian Wushuang's strength clearly. Although she had some life-saving skills, they simply did not work at all when she was facing experts like Jian Wushuang. Cannot kill you? Give me a reason. Jian Wushuang said in a cold voice, and the power continued gathering in his hand. I am a core disciple of the Holy Prefecture and my teacher is one of the 4 Mansion Masters. I also have a senior brother universe god Qing Yang, who is the first genius of the Holy Prefecture. Ju Shi screamed continuously. Besides, each core disciple of the Holy Prefecture has learnt a secret skill that is similar to curse. If you kill me, you will be cursed by me. And someday, any core disciple or high-level experts of the Holy Prefecture can recognize that you have killed an important member of their sect at first glance. They surely will try their best to revenge against you. Oh. Jian Wushuang's eyebrow lifted and he asked, is there any such secret skill in the eternal chaotic world? Yes. Jiu King nodded his heart. Jian Wushuang. Ju Shi looked at him again. I know you are a genius and have great potential. You definitely will travel around the eternal chaotic world, where my sect is one of the overlords on the first territory you will set foot on. If you kill me, don't expect that you will be safe there. Killing me will not do any good to you. Instead, it will be extremely difficult for you to venture into the eternal chaotic world. If you let me go, I promise I will introduce you to join the Holy Prefecture. That will be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for you. Is that so? Jian Wushuang smiled coldly, and the power he had gathered burst forth. A flash of flowing light shot toward the woman instantly. You! Zhu Shi's eyes were wide with disbelief. She had explained everything to Jian Wushuang so clearly, but the latter still struck her. If I die, you won't be able to live a good life. Zhu Shi shouted angrily when she knew she would die. She triggered the secret skill she mentioned earlier, and a little bit power swarmed into Jian Wushuang's body.